express yourself for what?
The people.
We just back from another show.
I know, but the people need me.
What you mean the people need you?
People need me.
You know what the people need? The people need another episode of the Halftime Radio Show. What is happening? Your boys are back. Uncle JB with your man Biscuit Head. Nick, how you doing,
What's
boss?
going on, man? Doing great. Happy to be here.
Hey, man.
Excited to get into it.
I'm excited to get into it, especially today, man. We got a special guest, man. This guy, I've been locked in with this guy since I want to say 2012. That's when we met. Over 10 years ago. He's been a great friend of mine. He is actually a head cross country coach and assistant track coach in the greater Houston area, a geometry teacher in high school. Cannot wait to bring to the show my man Justin, Coach Romero. What's happening, baby?
Thank y'all for having me.
Go ahead, sit down. How you doing, my man?
Great. Summertime.
Summertime.
Get to relax a little bit, so it's
good. How was the drive up here?
It was short. I mean, I live right outside of Houston.
I mean, you've been doing it for how many years? I mean,
3 years.
Yeah,
now.
you've been driving back and forth. Cause you from Austin, ain't you?
I'm from South Austin.
Yeah, there you go, South Austin in the house.
Yes,
I feel you, man. Well, hey, man, thank you for jumping on a Halftime Radio Show. I know you know what it's about. We here to have a good time with the YouTube family and just have good conversations and just kick it, right? We try to be as vulnerable as possible and just talk about, just real stuff, man. And you know how I go.
Yeah.
So make sure y'all like, subscribe, and share this. Super excited and definitely be on the lookout. We might be reaching out to you to come on the show like my man Justin, man. So, hey, you know how I go. We got 3 questions in the lockers.
Okay.
The 4th locker we're not gonna do because what we would like to do is take a little bit of time just to talk about you, man. Get to know you a little bit, talk about our humble beginnings.
For sure.
You feel me? So if you wouldn't mind, tell the people who you are, what you do. You told them where you're from, but tell them a little about yourself, man.
Yeah, it's your boy Justin Romero. They call me Weddle. I don't know how you introduced me earlier. I don't know what it was, but
it was Coach Romero.
Coach Romero. I've actually known this guy since 2011.
It was 2011. I'm sorry.
Because we graduated 2011.
Graduated 2011. Yep.
And then we came to UIW in the fall.
Incarnate Word, man.
Incarnate Word. UIWs, right?
They can say Antonio. Oh snap.
Yeah, nah. So I grew up, born and raised in Austin. My dad's been a teacher since like '89. My mom worked for the IRS. She was a secretary. So she's kind of been around us growing up, really. So elementary school, she was there with all my brothers and I. And then it wasn't until I left elementary school is when she went back to the IRS, doing some things.
Where was your dad teacher at?
He was at Better Check Middle School.
Where's that at?
It's on South First and William Cannon.
Oh, yeah. See,
it's on the south
How
side,
long was
too.
he a teacher?
Huh?
How long was he a teacher?
Since like 30 plus years. Like since '89.
Thank you, that man. That's
a job.
Praise.
And he's been at the same school the whole time, so that's longevity there.
Yeah, it is.
He's teaching kids. He's taught their parents, maybe even sometimes their grandparents.
Respect.
That's what's up. That's not longevity, man. That's dedication as well to especially not only to the school system but to that community. Because you there for that long, you raising your family there.
Yeah.
That's dope.
I used to go there every day after school, like elementary school since kindergarten. Every day, I'd tell my mom, "Hey, drop me off at Dad's," and I'd be there with the football team, be there with the soccer team, the basketball team, year round. I was around sports and played with the guys. Just been around sports my whole life.
And that's how we met too. We were on the same track team at UIW before I transferred and went up to Western State.
I transferred first, though.
You did.
So who was faster?
We didn't run the same thing. He would kill me in his events.
Yeah.
And vice versa.
Okay. I was just making sure. He wouldn't
he
just
was
smoke you in both.
He was an 800 runner, man. I can't make it past the 400.
Right. I can run the 4. You could probably do the 4.
Maybe,
if
man.
If you train 4, you was doing the 5Ks on Mondays.
Yeah, that was rough. We had to run our Monday practice with 5Ks, and I would like to have fun on the weekends.
Right.
And so
that 5K brutal then.
So when you wake up 6 o'clock in the morning, they say lace your shoes up. It's time to run a 5K.
That hurt.
Man,
what time was you hitting it in?
I don't know, bro. I just know I was in the back.
You just trying to finish.
I was in the back. I was
going like 30 minutes, 28, 30 minutes.
A long time.
10 minutes.
I was dragging my feet. I was dragging my feet, and you could tell. Coach knew I had a long weekend.
That's why he did it. He said, "We're gonna get all the toxins out."
But yeah, that's exact. Hey, y'all had a good weekend, all good. Just know y'all got a 5K on Monday, and it was just like, man, it whipped you into shape. Say, hey, you know what? I'm not doing anything today on Sunday. Yeah. I got a 5K tomorrow, so y'all go do what y'all gotta do.
Make smart choices.
Exactly, man. Exactly. But I mean, getting into that, so we were on the same track team. That led you now to be a head cross country coach. You know what I'm saying? Talk to us a little bit about that journey to becoming a head cross country coach.
Yeah, I think my whole life I knew I wanted to give back and to help because I was always showing so much love, and like how my dad is, he's so respected. He's been at the same school for 30 plus years. Everybody loved my dad, so it's just like they show me so much love. Like I've been so appreciative. Like they taking care of me too, and that shows a lot about my dad and who he is as a person. Like because they love my dad, they love me just as much or even more. You know what I'm saying? So I love that. My dad had all these connections. Everybody loved him in the teaching world, the coaching world, and I was like, even when I got to college and started, running as a junior and senior, like you look down at the freshman and sophomore, just like how Keith was, like he kind of took care of us.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So I was always looking out for these freshman kids, the sophomore kids, like man, like make smart choices. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's kind of what led me into that, giving minorities an opportunity to have a better future, even if it is with running or not. Like I want to give you at least an option, another door to open, so you can be successful, go to college and finish college, right? I think oftentimes we tell people like go to college, that's the end, but some people go to college and they drop out, right? And I know college not for everybody, but like what I'm saying, like go to college and graduate. That's what I tell these kids: go to college and finish, and not just go and that's it.
Right. You're teaching them life more than you just teaching them one thing, what you're taught to teach. Because that's really what everybody needs, a little encouragement in life. They need to be taught life in school.
Yeah, and there's days, luckily I'm not a STAR tested subject, so like look, there's days where I could loosen up on the content and have deeper conversations with these kids to help them with life. Yeah. So there's days like that, even if we're reviewing, okay, some of these kids, they redo it like in 2 minutes because they're smart like that. So we have, just genuine conversation.
Yeah.
It's a good feeling.
I mean, if you think about it, man, you're able to impact kids before they set out on whatever journey it is they're going on for their life, right? You think about a lot of times, some people are having to become the man or the woman of the house at 18 years old, right? Maybe even before that. And I mean, that's right in that time frame where, you know what I'm saying, or that age range where you're getting a chance to impact these kids and telling them to make smart decisions, make good decisions, be smart when you go outside and do things. Miss Brockman would tell me and Chris that all the time. It's like, be smart when you go out, all the time. And I love that because when I look back on it now, it's like, I didn't always make the best decisions, but that was honestly the best advice.
Yeah.
Is to be smart about what you're doing.
So for y'all, who is y'all's, I guess, most memorable teacher that y'all had that kind of made an impact in y'all's lives that y'all feel like?
For me, it was my psychology teacher, Susie. She would ask me.
Called her by her first name?
She would ask me. Yeah, that's what she wanted.
Okay.
And she would ask me the deepest, coolest questions all the time to make me really just sit back and be like, dang, I might not really have it there like I think. And she would challenge me to grow, and I appreciated that as a professor, somebody who spoke to me in a ways that no other professor would speak to me, took the time to be able to do that, and took the route to say, hey, you know what? I might not understand you, but I want to learn more about you, and I hope that you're willing to learn more about me, and maybe we can help each other. And I appreciated that as a professor from her. I mean, for me, that was the only real professor that ever did something like that, to like say, hey, you know what? Let's talk about the deeper conversations, kind of like you do with your kids, right? Like, take the time to be able to do that, because who's doing that in their life? Sometimes, I'm not gonna lie, parents run away from conversations, big conversations that they should be having with their kids, and the kids are having it with somebody else, and hopefully they're having it with somebody that they could trust, that's steering them in the right way. And I can clearly tell that with every conversation, Susie was always pushing me to be a better version of myself and steering me in the right way. And that's why she was more than just a professor for me. You know what I mean? She was, a counselor, a friend, a therapist, whatever you want to call it. She's dope. That's my girl. So, yeah, man.
Nah, see, mine's a little bit different. So I have a favorite teacher, and then as far as a person who's kind of like that, more of a someone who invested in me, it wasn't a teacher as much as the counselor. Miss Morrison at Westwood, bro. Shout out to Miss Morrison. She was the best thing that was ever there, bro, in terms of just caring about you and seeing you for a, youth trying to become an adult who makes mistakes, who is, human, who, but also understands that there's consequences and wants to straighten you out in that process. So, but there's a couple of them, like I said, Miss Morrison was the best from that regard, but Mr. Johnston was the coolest. Like, he was my 5th grade teacher, man. He was the coolest he was like, y'all get y'all work done, we're going to play kickball. We're not straight up like, hey, y'all want to be motivated? You want to see some 5th graders be motivated? Let me give y'all some advice. Tell them they can go outside and play kickball on if they get through their work, bro. He had us doing like 4 subjects in like an hour. Yeah. We busting through all
knocking them out though.
Like, he just like, yeah, we like, man, we got 15. We can do 15 minutes here. We gonna steal 15 minutes from the 30. And we do that 4 times. Man, we gonna mess around and have like an hour out there, hour plus. So we was over there working, but from that regard,
strategizing,
scheming. And then I'm gonna put Miss Lauderdale in there, even though she was my least favorite teacher for the longest time. Yeah. But she was my freshman teacher. She taught Algebra 1. She was the oldest tenured teacher, probably one of the oldest ones at Westwood at the time when I came in. And she was on her way out, like, respectfully. And she had kind of got to the point where she was like, I'm gonna put the work down, and these kids, you gotta learn it on your own. Like, kind of was how she was, and she was like, I'm putting these problems up here. You do them, right? So that was kind of how every day. So it wasn't really so much teaching as you would think of, as a partnering and trying to make sure you understand. It was more like you on your own type of thing, right? And so, anyways, I messed around, being an athlete and thinking I'm smart, and I'm bordering on 60, 65, 68 coming into the 6 weeks, bro, and I go to her. I'm like, because I can't fail because it's basketball season now. I think this is like the January, or this is like going into winter break, like report card or whatever, right? So if I fail it, I'm stuck for 6 weeks or whatever. And that's basketball prime. That's like tournament time. District, right? So I go to her and I'm like, I got a 68 or whatever. I started hustling the last couple weeks and I got it up because he was down like 63. I got it up like 60. I'm right there. I'm on the brink. I go to her. I'm like, hey, is there any chance that I can, do some work or make up some of this stuff and do it, redo it and get to the 70, right? Oh my gosh, man. She sits me down and she's like, I could let you do this and get you to a 70, right? But I'm not going to. And I'm like, no. See, in my head, I'm panic buttons on, right? I've never not been able to play the sport, right? Yeah. I'm okay. Well, let's just. I'm gonna go talk to my mom. I go talk to my mom. I'm like, Mom, you gotta go talk to this lady. Like, you gotta go talk to me. There's no way she can fail me, right? We go up, both of us, right? This time, same conversation. No, I'm not gonna give you a chance to do this because you need to learn this lesson of get it done when you are capable of doing it. Get it done and turn it in on time. Because, like, life don't give you these. Life don't give you all the time, give you a redo, give you a, hey, go make it up, Or, it's all good. Like, we're going to change the course of what life is doing or what the world is doing for you, for this exception for you, because that's not how it works, right? And so it was just, she's in my favorites now as an adult because I see how powerful that was and the courage it took to stand on that, knowing the wrath she was going to face from me, from my mom, from my coaches.
She knew she wasn't gonna be life for a long time, but she knew you would appreciate it one day.
Yep.
That's all.
Right. Those are the life lessons. She was right.
Yep. Those are life lessons, man. Well, shoot, with that, man, you ready to get into some of these lockers, bro?
Let's get into it.
Well, hey, 1 through 3. I can't talk right now. 1 through 3. You pick one, man, and then just read the question, whatever it is. Go with 1.
Yeah.
All right. Well.
Oh wow, you reached that, no problem.
Easy. All right, see what we got, man. All right. Hardest challenge as a coach. What is your hardest challenge? And it could be anything, man. It could be anything. Like I know.
I think coaching since 2016. So I started when I was like 23.
7 years.
I started as in private school.
Okay.
Started at private school. I was still in school at the time, and so I was lucky enough to like this job was just part time. Like I didn't have to teach to coach. It was just part time. You get a stipend, and you go about your day. So I was a head boys cross country coach, and did that for 3 years. It's crazy because I never thought I would be there. Like this was a private school. They have money here.
Yeah.
And it's like in my head, you think about the impact that you want to make, and it's like, okay, I want to go down to a lower income school. Right. And so me going to the complete opposite is like, I don't ever thought I would be here. But it's crazy because, they have issues too, just like we have issues, just different. And so like you are being a mentor to not just minorities, but just all kids, all different types of backgrounds. So like I've learned that, and I learned how to deal with their problems and our problems, and it's just so like that's not hard to me. It's just like definitely still making a positive relationship with the athletes. And so I mean I know it's easy in a way, you just being you, but I think having that and holding that and following up with the kids and keeping it consistent with them, like you can build relationships, and then all summer long, like I don't have to talk to them. I'm off right now, right? But like you want to be there for these kids, and they need to know that coach still cares about me, even when it's not just practice, even when it's not just at school times. So I mean, like writing workouts is easy to me, right? I don't pay too much. Like that's not hard to me. I think that comes naturally. Like I go to coaching school, that's just what I do. So it's just building a culture and environment that's good for these kids. That's the hardest challenge, and it's just trying to figure out ways, because it's different dynamics, different things. You got new leaders, new captains coming in, and so the way that they treat the other teammates is different. It's so crazy because I'm dealing with that right now, and this is a challenge. This is probably my hardest challenge, matter of fact. So this kid, he's a sophomore kid, and this is a role that he's never known. And so, luckily I came into this campus that I'm at now, my first year here. I was given 2 seniors that were amazing. They led the team amazingly. Showing up to practice, working hard, being dedicated. I couldn't have asked for better captains. And so now my seniors are gone, and I got to choose from what I have. And so it's like, man, I got this kid in mind, and I get advice from my captains, of course. And so like, yeah, we think this guy's gonna be great for it. So we get here. And so he's trying to navigate how to be a leader. And so it's almost like a dictatorship. Like he's trying to tell kids, you need to do this, you need to do this, you need to run on weekends, you need to do X, Y, and Z. Yeah. And it's like he's, there's a fine line. Like as a leader, you want people to follow you. You got to give them a reason to. Yeah. Like he's scaring the guys off. Yeah. And so like him and I were having conversations about this, every week. Like, hey, you can't be talking about your teammates. You can't be doing this behind their backs. So you got to be a better leader, better role model, set an example. Yeah. So just molding him and grooming him into this way of like being a leader and a captain, like that's a challenge. Yeah. But I like it though. It's good for him. I told him, I was like, look, I don't ever second guess the decision I made to make you a captain. Like it's just like you're gonna fail, and that's fine. Right, this is how you grow as a leader. You gotta, okay, this didn't work. Okay, what could I do differently? So just him growing up to be a leader, like this is gonna benefit him big time. By junior year, senior year, past high school. Yeah. So that's been my biggest challenge.
Sheesh, that's a tough one, man. That's a really tough one when you're talking about trying to get somebody else to understand the reason, because like there's such a fine line, like you said, between holding your teammates accountable and becoming a dictator and somebody. It's real easy to become somebody that they do not like. And once you start losing people on your team, it's that much harder to get back on that track of, okay, they can look to you and trust you and want to talk to you and want to, because that's what you need, man. So that's a tough ask, man. So I'm sure you wrestling with it is a good thing though, because you problem solving that for this kid's gonna trickle down the next kid and the next kid and the next kid. You're gonna be that much better in dealing with it and creating a leader, right?
Yeah, and like I said, it's different. Like the dynamics change, the kids change, personality changes. Like you get different groups of kids, so it's just like, how could I contain but have these kids grow at the same time in this environment? So, but as long as we have some like standards of like, okay, we want to have a culture of love and accountability, like you said, and leadership and, you know, discipline. So it's like, as long as we have these things as our pillars and we, okay, am I showing love and grace, right? Because love comes in many different forms, right? Yeah. So I feel like love, you holding someone accountable. I support you. I love you. Like, you know, there's so many ways to like love, and I make these kids understand it's like, I'm not picking on you. Like, I'm doing this because I love you.
Right.
Like, I'm hold you accountable.
Yeah. And that might hurt sometimes, but, you know, that's going to make you grow. And growth it's all about stretching yourself. You know, and that sometimes is very uncomfortable, but that's what it is. You know what I mean? There's pain in growing, but it's worth it. You know, and I think that's what I learned as an athlete, because a lot of them track workouts that coach had us doing, man, I was upset. I was upset, but it made
you came back.
It made me a better athlete. So I can't complain, man. Can't complain. I got one more question before we dive into the next topic. How do you feel? Is there a challenge between like your male and female athletes? Do you feel like there's a different dynamic between them? So
we recently combined our males and females to be one team, because we've been separate for a while, and so that's a challenge in itself. Like, we're used to a certain way of doing things, structured, and the expectations, versus they have different set of expectations in the way that they're used to doing things. So,
is there another coach on that side?
Yeah,
okay.
There was another coach. She retired, and now we got a new coach, and so we.
That's probably a challenge in itself, right? You know, two different coaches they've used.
Well, we work well together. So she's also the track coach, and so her and I, we have like just the same mindset, same mentality, same expectations, and just like, we're track-minded people. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's been good. But as far as like, you know, they have the challenge on that is writing their workouts that is different than the guys, volume-wise. So they're not doing as much, right? So like my guys, they may be doing 50 miles, 60 miles by September. And my girls, they shouldn't be getting up that high right now, especially not my freshmen, my sophomores, maybe seniors. But so just trying to like adjust and write their workouts for them. Now, as far as like effort, that's the same. You know, I'm expecting y'all to go out there and run.
Yeah, give me 100%.
Yeah, we have paces, you know, so like, and I know you can do it. And, you know, once you've been around it long enough, like, you see it, right? So I know this kid ran a 4:30 mile. He's hitting these paces. Like, you should be able to also, and to some extent,
yeah,
right? But
especially if it's competition, right?
Yeah. So as far as training goes, like, that's just the volume is different for me. Effort, attitude, accountability, that all stays the same.
Yeah. Good stuff, man. That's what's up. Well, I mean, I feel like obviously there's challenges and everything, and it's kind of like what I'm hearing, like a lot of your challenges can correlate to life as well. I mean, that's just sports is a life game. I mean, I think in every sport you can have some type of life aspect in it. You know what I mean? So that's dope, man.
I think track is so different.
It is.
It's so mental.
Track is, I think, one of the most.
You can't take off. You can't. I can't take a play off. I can't jog down the court and let someone else score. You gotta run fast.
Everything has to be on point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
On race days and practice. Yeah, we have some easy days, of course, but
yep.
Like when it's time to go, it's time to go.
Absolutely, man. You ain't lying. You ain't lying. Well, Mr. Biscuit Head.
What's up, baby?
What we got? You did number 1, right?
I did 1.
So you got 2 or 3.
Oh, two. Y'all was waiting on me. That's my fault. My fault. 2.
Sometimes I think nothing clicking up there, you know? All right. You know, we've been talking about this a little bit. So, like, how do you like to impact your athletes? So, like, you know, impact it, to me, the way I'm looking at it is like you have intention behind what you do, right? You're living your life with intention. You know, you're conscious of what you listen to, what you eat. You know what I mean? What you're saying to other people, because you want to impact them in a positive way. So I guess, like, how do you impact your athletes?
Yeah. So I heard this saying from a guy that I like watching, and he's a battle rapper. And yeah, so
give me an example.
He said you don't have to invest and you don't have to give back. But there's a difference when you rap to impress and when you rap to impact. And so instead of using rap, I use coaching, right? So you don't have to give back. You don't have to invest and you have to give back. But there's a difference when you coach to impress and when you coach to impact. Now, so it's just like I'm not in it to win all the time, right? Because when you think about it, there's only so many kids that run and compete in general at the collegiate level, right? So how are we preparing them for everything outside of that, you know? And I think being purposeful and intentful with everything that we do. So, making sure that we train our body right. My high school coach told me like it's like your body is like a Ferrari. You know, you're not gonna treat it bad, feed it bad. You know, just eat junk food all the time. You got to be very careful with what you put into your body.
Put no 87 unleaded in it,
right?
You know, you don't put that premium gas. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's, you know, it's been good. It's been good.
That's what's up. I mean, I feel like going back to like that question you asked a little earlier with you know, who kind of impacted you like in your life with the profession. I feel like, you know, as an athlete, one thing that I appreciated the most from a lot of my coaches, because I would say I'm blessed. I didn't have that many bad coaches in my life, maybe a couple, but I haven't had like majority of my coaches. I would say 95% have been dope, and one of the best qualities I see in all the great coaches is they have this slow to anger type of feel. You know, you could do a lot to be in the bad grace, you know, on the bad side of things, but they have an unlimited amount of grace in a way. And that's not to say that, you know, I was over there pushing or testing the boundaries of that grace, but I've made mistakes along the way. You know, I remember, shout out to my man, Coach Bradford. We were at the shootout and I was getting into it with another track athlete, and Coach Bradford didn't get mad at me. He didn't yell at me. Because me and that dude was literally we were about to square up, I felt like, you know. Coach Bradford, all he did was pull me to the side in the garage and say, hey, man, let's just try to represent ourselves in a better way. He's like, I know you're upset, and I'm not going to tell you how to feel right now, but just understand that you representing your school, you representing me, you representing yourself. And the way he talked to me wasn't like he was angry or mad at me, you know. He was talking to me from a place of love. And just trying to make sure that I'm keeping my head straight, because it was bigger than just track. You know, this is my brand that we talking about. This is our brand that we represent, right? So, you know, that was a lesson I learned then. But it was the fact that he didn't, like some coaches you feel like could just yell at you. I never really understood coaches that just yell all the time, because it's like,
right.
Dog, like, what you yelling for?
Oh my God.
What you yelling for?
Why are you yelling at
like
me?
that makes no sense. Like, you screaming, you about to lose your voice, and you could have just said what you said, and I would have actually heard what you said, versus you yelling. And I'm like, man, he yelling. I ain't trying to listen to nothing you say. So as soon as I hear you yelling, I'm not talking to you no more. Yeah. He wasn't that type of coach. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I've ever heard him yell ever. So, I mean, shout out to the coaches that can actually communicate, you know, and not just yell and scream and hope that yelling and screaming gonna set the record straight. Yeah. You literally didn't say nothing.
I've heard it a few times when I'm outside track practice and I hear a coach just chewing out this kid. I'm talking.
That don't help.
You can probably hear it blocks down. Like, what good is that gonna do for this kid?
That don't help at all. Like, you scaring him into the right place?
At some point, it'll click. No matter how many talks that you'll have with him, at some point, he'll get to his life where, okay, I need to change. Right? And just like, you know, when you have failed, or you did fail that 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Like, sometimes that's what it takes. Like, when reality hits, it's like, man, I got to really focus and do what I got to do in order to play. My parents always told me that, like, business before pleasure. Like, you couldn't go outside and play until you did all your work.
Yeah, because you got the mentality at that point. I'll never let that happen again. That's what I said. I'll never let that happen again.
I'm not gonna put myself in a position for that to happen.
Right. And not even going. It won't even get that close ever again. You know what I'm saying? Because just in case I run into another one of these people being somebody who wants to hold me accountable for what I did and doesn't want to give me any grace, which is totally fair. You know what I'm saying? Like, people also come around to daily and expect grace. Like, you have to, like, going into your life, you know what I'm saying? Like, nobody owes you grace. It's great when you receive it, right? But nobody owes it to you. And so it's like, people be mad when they don't get it. Yep. But it's also like, bro, you know what I'm saying? Nobody actually owes that to you.
Nobody owes it to you.
So you really gotta you really gotta,
It's-
appreciate it when you get it.
It's funny that you said that because now it made me remember I had failed one time my Spanish class, and 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 I couldn't in high school, yeah, and I couldn't go to the regional track meet, but I think that year was a swine flu year, and so
that's like sophomore year.
So it got pushed back. The regional track meet got pushed back into the next report card, and then I passed. I got my grades up, so I got to run to the regional track meet. Your boy did it. Hey, I think we were in Spanish class at the Carter Word, right? Was that?
I never took Spanish.
Was that on you?
No, that was not me.
I was in there with Michael Ramirez.
Okay, my sweet mate.
Yeah, your sweet mate. That's what I was in there with. I was in Spanish class with him. I still barely know Spanish. I took like 3 years of Spanish, man. I still barely know nothing.
Bruh, what's all that Spanish gone?
Gone.
It's in the abyss.
It's in the abyss. It's in the black hole.
Hola,
¿Cómo está?
¿cómo estás?
Easy now.
You like it?
A little bit.
Let's get to the last one.
Well, real quick though, before we get to the last one, like not even just like impacting athletes, like students too. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Ooh, yeah.
So just being.
You're a geometry teacher, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so is it what geometry have different levels, or what is it like?
No, there's only one. There's no like prerequisite to it.
Okay.
There's nothing
It's not like algebra
needed
1,
for
algebra 2, and all
calculus
that.
or anything like. So
Okay.
it's just like in its own merit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So I mainly had sophomores. I mainly had 10th graders. Very few 11th and 12th graders that didn't pass.
Yeah.
I get some that come in the second semester because they passed first semester, failed second semester, but failed the years. So they got credit for the first semester, but not second. But nah, man, like it's I love being in the classroom too. Like it takes out a lot of energy because you're still pouring into these kids. You know, you do your thing in cross country in the morning, and then you teach your butt off, and then you still like preparing them for life. Or like I don't just sit down on my desk and don't do nothing. Like I go around and I talk to the kids and just check up on them, right? And that takes effort, that takes time. Even getting the kids to like, hey, make sure everyone's writing this down. Like that takes effort, and especially when a kid that doesn't want to do it. You know, like, and I'm being every day, right? And every day is the same thing, bro. Like, you late every day. Come on, like, trying to, like I said, I don't really give out tardies like that. Like, it's just like, at some point it'll click, right? Like, they see me, like, I'm very respectful towards them, so they're always gonna be respectful towards me. But you know, they go through so much. And it really shed a light to me too, because like my main focus was just my athletes. Like, I really wanted to care for my guys to build them up to be young men. But there's this one girl this past year, and she was talking about how she has like trust issues, daddy issues, almost like male figure issues. Like, oh, they're just gonna come and go. Like, she doesn't trust men, right? And I was like, dang, like that made me feel like I have to set a better example for the females too. Like, I want to make sure that you know that there are some good males out here and just men, right? You know what I mean? We were all in high school once. We're all boys, and we did what we did, right? But, you know, that's not always the case. That's just immaturity. And then once you become mature, you know.
But you show them something better. You know what I'm saying? It's like that way they have something to look and be like, all right, I know all the boys my age right now are like this, you know. But I know at some point or out there somewhere there is men like this, you know, like you know, they really, you know, if you don't see better, you don't know better. Like, you don't know what's better is out there, right? If everything you see is one way, you may not know that guys are respectful or are, you know, go the extra mile or do these things. So it's like, it's nice when you can have a role model, you know, to kind of model some of that behavior for sure.
Set that example. Yeah. For sure. I like that, man. Coach Romero over here setting examples. Boom.
Hey, gotta hold it down.
Yeah.
We're not all the same.
Yeah, respect it. Gotta respect it.
All right, we're gonna get into the last one, man. You want to read that one?
Yeah, man. Can't even read your handwriting.
Hey, man.
What goal do you want to accomplish in the next year?
Ooh, what goal do you want to accomplish within the next year? I know for me, I want to buy some land. I really want. I want my 40 acres and a mule. That's what I want. You know, probably a little bit more than 40 acres, maybe. But
you don't get that next year.
Within a year. Yeah, that's what I want.
Setting up money aside.
Next summer, I want to be moving on to my plot of land. That's my goal. That's my goal.
Roughly how much it costs? 40 acres.
I mean, depending on where you're looking. You know, I'm looking maybe a little like northwest of San Antonio. You know,
bunch of land out there.
Yeah.
So you looked at the prices out there? Or what?
Yeah, prices out there not that bad. You know,
San Antonio is actually kind of cheap.
Yeah, surprisingly
Cheaper than the other three.
like it's technically like around what the hill country area technically is what it's like the edge of the hill country. I would
So
say
is that
We
like
still got
Canyon Lake, like South
Lake Lake Hills. You know what Lake Hills is. So I mean, we looking
I
at
know the area of San Antonio you speaking about.
yeah, you know, maybe
on the map I have a general idea of where you.
Yeah, you know, that's looking at 40 acres though. You know, at least some of the land I'm looking at is really between like 350,000 to 650,000, and you can get a good piece of land for that. Real good. I mean, even if I say, hey, I don't want to go that big, let's say 10 acres, you can probably get that for 250,000. You know, I mean, but that's just the land. You know, if you want to build it, some places now I have seen some beautiful places with the home built, homestead and already farm set up, barn set up, shed set up, chicken coops, garden beds, all that plus the house. You know what I'm saying? Buy it all for like 500,000. I've seen it.
How many acres?
40. Yeah. Well, I mean, but that's the thing. Nobody really want to move out there. It is like, let's say about 45 minutes from San Antonio. So you drive into the city about an hour and 30 to Austin, maybe.
But ain't too bad.
But if I want to be self-sufficient and ducked off, I need a piece of land to be able to do all the things I want to do. Create my business in a way. Thankfully I got a great girlfriend that know how to do all that stuff too. And that's something that's one of her goals. So what they say, when two people come together to pray about it, oof, spirit moves.
Dangerous.
It's dangerous. So, hey man, I know it's gonna happen. It's just like the question now is, as we save up throughout the year, where is it gonna be? That's the question. And am I gonna do 40, 35, 50?
What about personal growth? So you got something going on there. But
I would say that kind of goes into my personal growth as well, because I got to be disciplined to save. You know what I mean? I got to be disciplined to put that first. I gotta kind of prune and weed everything else out to be able to accomplish that. So it kind of, for me, it go hand in hand, right? If I want to be able to make this a dream or a goal a reality, then there's a lot of work that I got to do on the flip side of it, And thankfully, I'm in a position to where I'm able to do that. So now I just got to go make it happen, get it done.
Ain't nothing but the work now.
Yeah, ain't nothing but the work now. And the work easy. That's the easy part. The hard part is to discipline yourself to say, hey, you know what? This is what I want. So this got to go, this got to go, this got to go, this got to go. And I got to hold myself here, because if I don't, then I'm not going to get what I want. Right. And I want what I want. And when I want what I want, I go get what I want.
It's crazy. I mean, like nowadays the kids, they want it so quick. They don't want to wait. They don't want to be patient. Like I think E.T. was saying, like, you gotta love the process just as much as the prize.
Yeah.
You get more out of the process than you get from the prize. That's the craziest thing, and it's so weird. And once you understand it more and more, the further you commit to the process. Yeah.
Once you get the prize, you honestly look at it like, the prize is nice, but man, what it took for me to get this, that's what you relish. Yeah. That's what you talk about. That's the juicy, that's the pride point.
From what I've seen, like on social media, it's like there's this clip, and this coach is talking about how they do things like in like smaller intervals, because the kids nowadays, they watch TikToks, like them little reels, right? They're not long. Yeah. They're not 20, 30 minutes. They're like whatever X amount of seconds or a minute. Yeah. And so even like when it comes to like teaching, like these kids, they can't have that attention for that long. So you got to really get to it and get to the point. Yeah. I can't talk just to talk in class. I say what I gotta say, and that's it. You know what I'm saying? Like I can't just be out there rambling about vacation. They don't want to hear that. They get bored. You know what I'm saying? That's an individual conversation. When we walk around, we talk about that. But like, nah, I say what I gotta say. I might be done in 10, maybe done 20. Like it's different every day.
What's your goal you got for the year?
Man, I got a few. Sometimes I don't like to say it just because I don't want no one to block it, in a sense.
Nah, but you understand. Nah, we all with you. We all praying for you. So again, it's
always people that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that you got the support of. I mean, with 2 people, it's like a whole army. So you good. I mean, there's 3 people in this room right here. So you straight.
As far as like coaching wise, I feel like I've already established a culture of being a year at where I'm at. I got some guys that are gonna be some studs. So for them, I feel like being in the top 10 at district, like that's the goal of mine. That I can have 2 guys make it onto the regional meet, and then if anything happens more, that's a bonus. So we was 6th place. So my school, we've been either dead last or second to last by a big gap for the past like 8 years. And this year we added 2 new high schools, and we got 6th out of 9th. So that was big. Like that was pretty big for me this year. So just climbing up the rankings. So either like 5th place, 4th place. We talk about being a top 14, but we gotta walk like a top 14. We gotta act like that. So athletically, I would say top 4. Personally, man, like I want to network a lot more. I want to talk to a lot more coaches at the collegiate level. So just pick on their brain. You talk about iron sharp as iron.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just like I want to be vulnerable. I want to be able to like give you, here's my workouts. Can you critique it? Okay, why would you do it this way? Versus, just really pick on their brain and grow from there. I don't gotta steal what you do. I don't care about that. Like, I feel like I'm a good coach already. So not to like that's just like confidence and a little bit of swag that I have, but it's not cocky. So it's just just trying to really get to it with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I want to accomplish moving to Dallas successfully and not jack anything up along the way.
Yeah,
we'll get into that, at a later date. But I got a couple of things going on. I got to move. I got to reestablish myself. I got to not lose anything in the process. Like possessions or like myself or limbs or like I got to do all that. So. But yeah, it'll be good. It'll be good. I'm excited. This year's gonna be a grinding year. A lot of change has been happening.
Cause you got some big things coming up. Is this year, next year?
It's August. This August.
I know you're moving in August. I'm talking about your other plans.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to get into the sports scene up there in Dallas. Try to find me a little team to coach, something like that. But get promoted and maybe become an AE. Just little light things.
Yeah. Well, I'm happy for you. Nick gonna have some good news and some good goal chasing. I think you're gonna be able to get some things done. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I don't want to reflect on it too much just yet. We'll let them know. We'll let them know.
We got some big news coming for y'all YouTube family. Y'all stay tuned, man. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. But with that, man, Justin, Mr. Widow, I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
Yeah, man.
Dope talk.
I mean, thank you for coming on. I mean, again, this guy is not only a great friend, but I think that you're doing honestly tough work. I mean, working with kids, especially that age, that's not easy, and to be dedicated and to want to do that and want to be there and want to show up. A lot of kids don't have that in their life, right? And, I applaud you, man. I got to give you your flowers because, it could be so easy, kind of like you alluded to earlier, just to show up just for the check. Just clocking in and not investing into these kids. If we talk about kids or our future, then we got to invest into them, so I appreciate you doing that, man. And make sure y'all like, subscribe, give my man Mr. Widow here a follow too. Anytime you want to come back on the show, just hit me and Biscuit up, man. Biscuit here, and we gonna be there.
Appreciate y'all.
But we out.